You know how some cases go cold? The trail of clues just dries up, the files get put away, and for the people waiting for an answer, well, hope starts to fade. But we're not talking about a crime story here. We're talking about a medical mystery, and a whole new kind of detective work that's cracking cases once thought to be completely unsolvable.
Okay, so let's just chew on this for a second. What if that one crucial piece of evidence wasn't missing at all? What if it was just sitting there, right in the file, waiting for someone to come along and look at it with fresh eyes? This question, right here, is the whole idea behind one of the most incredible genetic investigations ever. And the investigation, it starts right here, with 6,004 families, each one facing a rare disease that has no name, no explanation, and of course, no diagnosis. For years, their genetic data was analyzed, but the answer just wasn't there.
Yeah, that's thousands of medical cold cases. But then, a massive team of genetic detectives from all over Europe decided to reopen every single one. They had this belief that with new tools, and by working together, they could finally find the clues that everyone else had missed.
To really get why this is such a big deal, we have to talk about something called the Diagnostic Odyssey. And trust me, it's as exhausting as it sounds. It's this long, often heartbreaking journey that patients and their families go on, bouncing from doctor to doctor, test to test, and never, ever getting a straight answer.
Now, a rare disease might sound, well, rare, but when you add them all up, they affect millions of people. And get this, the huge majority, over 70%, are genetic. The answer is literally written in the patient's DNA. The problem is, finding it is like searching for a single typo in a library filled with thousands and thousands of books.
And that's the really frustrating part. This quote from the research just nails it. Even with all our powerful new tools, like genome sequencing, we might only find an answer about 20% of the time. For so many families, the promise of technology just wasn't delivering. They were stuck in what you'd call diagnostic limbo.
But this is where our story takes a turn for the better. See, to solve a problem this huge, you need a team that's just as big. This wasn't some single lab working alone. No, this was a massive alliance of experts from an entire continent, all coming together under one name, the Solve-RD project.
And this diagram, it basically shows you their battle plan. They built this incredible framework to pull together data from thousands of these unsolved cases. Then, they threw a whole suite of the latest analysis tools at it. And this is the really crucial part. They had teams of experts review the findings together. It's like a machine built specifically for discovery.
And just look at the scale of this thing. Over 300 experts from 37 different institutes across 12 countries. This was way more than just sharing data. It was about sharing brainpower. It was about bringing all these different kinds of expertise together to look at these cold cases from every angle you could possibly imagine.
So, how did they do it? What was the secret sauce? Well, this gets us to their core strategy. The big idea wasn't necessarily to run a bunch of new expensive tests. The breakthrough came from systematically re-examining the genetic data they already had. It's the ultimate cold case strategy, right? The evidence was there the whole time.
I love this slide because it shows the massive shift in thinking. The old way, right? A local hospital runs an analysis one time. If they find nothing, that data just sits there, gathering dust. The new Solve-RD approach turned that static data into a living, breathing resource that was constantly being reevaluated by this giant network of experts. So you're probably thinking, okay, if this is so great, why isn't it done all the time? Well, because it's really, really hard. It takes a ton of time and a whole bunch of different specialists do it right. And that's exactly what made this project so ambitious. They decided to do the thing that wasn't routine on a massive, massive scale. So, the big question, did this huge effort actually pay off? Did our new detectives crack the cold cases? The answer is absolutely yes. Let's get to the results, because they are pretty staggering.
So get this number. A full 8.4% of these previously unsolvable cases were solved. Now, that's not just a percentage on a slide. That is 506 families who finally got an answer. An explanation for what they and their loved ones had been going through for years.
And, the answers weren't all hiding in the same place. Most of them were these little typos in the genetic code. We call them SNVs and indels. But the team also found bigger issues, like whole chunks of DNA that were missing or duplicated, variants in the mitochondria, the cell's powerhouses, and even major rearrangements of the code. It just shows you how deep and how wide they had to search to find these clues.
So why were these clues missed the first time around? Well, it really boils down to three main things. First, science just keeps moving forward. For a lot of these families, the gene that caused their disease wasn't even discovered when they were first tested. Second, our collective knowledge gets better, databases get updated, and what was once a mystery variant can be reclassified as the culprit. And third, collaboration just works. The group's combined expertise let them see things a single expert might have missed.
A diagnosis is so much more than just a label. For these 506 families, it's the end of that long, uncertain journey, and it's the beginning of a new one. It's all about moving from the unknown to the actionable.
I mean, take this one case file, P001371. The first analysis missed it completely, but the Solve-RD reanalysis spotted a huge structural variant, a big rearrangement in the genetic code inside a specific gene. After years of nothing, that family finally had a name for what was going on.
Or listen to this incredible story of a girl who was suspected of having Rett syndrome. For 8 years, the answer was right there in her genetic data, but it was missed because of a tiny technical error in how it was recorded. The variant was logged against a less important version of the gene. The reanalysis corrected that one little error and revealed that actually the variant crippled the crucial brain-specific version of the gene. And just like that, her diagnosis was confirmed.
And this is where it gets even more amazing. For nearly 15% of the people who got a new diagnosis, the answer wasn't just an explanation. It was a pathway forward. Their diagnosis pointed to a condition that was potentially actionable. That means there might be specific treatments, interventions, or clinical trials out there for them.
The ripple effect of getting that answer is just immense. First, it ends that painful odyssey. It gives families critical information for family planning. It lets them connect with a community of other people who are going through the same thing. And like we just saw, it can even open the door to new treatments. The whole project is basically a blueprint for how we can solve these mysteries on a global scale.
And this whole story, it didn't happen overnight. It started way back in 2017. A huge reason it was so successful was because of all the new genetic discoveries that happened after 2018, knowledge that just wasn't available for the first analyses. And now with these incredible results published, the framework isn't just a success story, it's a blueprint, already being used by even bigger global projects. The investigation is getting wider.
And in the true spirit of science, these detectives aren't locking their files away. The entire resource, all this organized data, everything they learned, is now open to the global community. So any researcher anywhere on Earth can now use it to help solve their own cases.
Which leaves us with this one final, kind of mind-blowing thought. This project looked at just over 6,000 genetic cold cases and found hundreds of answers. It really makes you wonder, how many more breakthroughs, for all sorts of conditions, aren't waiting for some brand new discovery, but are just sitting there in old data, waiting for a new detective to come along and reopen the file?